Is this by choice or is you just didn't get out in time?
No, this is choice. And here we are. We are live now, my friend.
All right.
All right. Let's get this.
Let me
Let's
go
get
to
the show started. Fanboy Modeling School will start in just a moment.
get the link. Hit the like. Bam. Copy.
Peace. Fanboy Modeling School. Welcome to Fanboy Modeling School.
Yo,
Holler, I am the Fat Mantis, and I am here with my co-host.
Steve, man, real name, no gimmicks.
Real name, no gimmicks. There will be no gimmicks tonight. Just pure, unadulterated fanboyliness.
Shenanigans, nerd behavior to the highest level.
Yes, highest level. How are you, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. We are in the final countdown for Friday, the premiere.
Oh, I thought you meant the apocalypse.
Oh, that as well.
Yes.
The premiere of Black Adam. I'm sorry, African American Adam. Not to offend anyone.
2 doses of mattress in 1 day. Sweet. Yo, thank you, Lo. And actually, Lo, it's actually Logie over there had a lot of interesting things to say. My earlier stream in Mothership Monday, you had a lot of great comments in there, brother. So thank you for your
amazing stream as per usual. Good job for you and Lainey. Bex, my sister, the delightful Bex. Great job. Great job.
Thank you. Very energetic stream. But it was, it had to happen, and it was a good time, I believe, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's the thing you guys are proving, right? I'm sorry, folks. I got to fix my camera. Now
you're short.
Okay. Do I look good? Am I tall again? Am I one of God's chosen people again? Tall people are God's chosen people. Short people are the devil. It proves that you can have a conversation with people that you have a deferring view with, right? And still walk away being friends, right? I detest this fragile society we live in where people just can't disagree, have the argument, and not walk away disowning each other. You know what I'm saying? I will not disown you for your belief structure, and I would hope you would not do the same for me. And it has nothing to do. Now we got to agree that we're gonna disagree beyond to the point of disagreeing, right? We're gonna go at each other. We're gonna have our arguments, but love prevails in the end.
Yes, it does. And I'll say, like, for instance, I'll still have Lainey over for dinner, but I will keep an eye on my silverware. That's the only difference. That's the only thing that changed about tonight.
Well, you would only have to do that if Lainey was a Scientologist, right? Because they're definitely melting down silver Scientologists. I've told you the story about how I almost allowed an attractive young lady to enroll me into the cult, right?
Oh, what it was, a stress test on the street?
Yes, bro. I was coming out of the Vermont and Sunset train station in California, and I come up and I see this beautiful, angelic young lady standing at the top. It's a very long escalator ride up. And she's standing there and she's smiling at me as I'm coming up. And I'm like, oh, shit, son. So I get the eyebrows ready.
Yeah.
And I get up there and she pulls out these 2 little tin cans. And then she's trying to
stress test, and you're like, fuck.
I was like, can I have your phone number, not the church's phone number? But
guys, this is just a reminder to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Remember to keep checking out Fight Juice online, and of course, every Monday for Fanboy Modeling School.
Yes, and folks, just to let you know, got some big stuff going on here at Fight Juice. Obviously Arkham Knight is releasing, so I'm going to be streaming that game. Capture Card Inbound. I meant to hit Mantis for more free graphics as per usual. and you'll be getting a lot of God of War. So here's the deal with me streaming video games, right? I'm going to have Cheeto dust on me, right? I'm going to have Oreo dust on me. I'm be screaming at my wife for more fucking grilled cheese sandwiches down here in the basement. But my stream style when it comes to video games is I will be talking. I won't be grinding. Pause. I won't be grinding out missions, right? We're just going to stream. We're going to go through the story together. We're going to enjoy the story together, and we're going to move the fuck on.
So Lo says Arkham Knights looks very meh. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I know what we're in for, though. This is what it is.
Yeah. I agree with Lo.
Here's what it is. This is a more colorful hack and slash version of the other Arkham games. And it's not like they're pulling the wool over my eyes, and I'm fine with that. There are days where I just want to beat up bad guys endlessly, and there are other days where I want to think and be stealthy. And this game has given us the first one, you know?
No, absolutely. And here's what I need to do. Remind me. Text me Thursday night so I can bring you Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor. Right?
Oh, that's what I need more.
I would be
more Lord of the Rings in my life.
I would be terribly interested to see how you like the build version of those games. I know you watched me play it a few times when I came over, but here's one thing. I agree with Lo-Fi. I keep looking at the graphics for this game, and I keep feeling mobile. I keep feeling like I'm looking at a mobile game on an iPhone.
It does look lazy, and that's why I think it's kind of weird that it's taking so long to come out, because they already have the engine designed. So what are they spending the time doing?
Well, it's done. It's done, man. And listen, the gaming industry, shout out to Talking with a Dad, but I'll say one of the many things that Zach, my former co-host on that show, was very, very, very strict about, but I agree with him 100%. At $60, $75, damn near $80, we deserve better than day one patches for a game, right?
Yeah,
we deserve a finished game day one. And the only updates we should be getting for games should be added content. Not, okay, so we finally fixed the game. Right? So
right. Freaking Saints Row Infinite getting hit by a car thing, or the Saints Row the bosses are like teleporting by accident. Right. Like you shoot them, they turn into a shadow glitch, and then they're like, fine. Like, wait, what? That's crazy.
I know. I will say the Spider-Man games and Insomniac, those games released ready to go. You know, if you're just doing story mode, Miles Morales glorified DLC that it was, game was ready to go.
It was a good time. It was a good time.
It was a very good time. It was a very. And
I'm not pissed because I got it secondhand, so I didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah,
I bet if I paid full price for a game on it, I would be a little pissed.
Yeah, so I paid full price. Obviously I bought it for the eldest of the Hold Up boys, and he beat the shit out that game. But the one thing that I had said, I knew that it was a glorified DLC because the skins and the stuff that you grind for, we got all that shit like day two. We had every suit there was to get. Mantis, honorable mentions
for stories.
Yeah, I got for stories tonight. I never tell you my honorable mentions beforehand. You asked me to send you some topics, and I'm gonna pull one of the topics out and make it an honorable mention. The greatest lie ever told. The documentary about Black Lives Matter.
Right, and that's Candace Owens, right?
Candace Owens, Daily Wire. I have not watched it yet. I have tasked the crew over at the Hold Up TV, Bex and Cincy. We should watch it so we can discuss it and break it down for Dope Dynamics, obviously the home of controversial talk.
Yeah.
A lot of reviews on it. You know what words I have not heard yet other than from the Black Lives Matter official Twitter? Propaganda. Like, the problem is Candace Owens did a deep dive with facts and what's reported from tax filings and, discovery for nonprofit organizations, and it's a bad look, my guy. Part of me kind of doesn't want to watch this. I gotta be honest.
Who are you kidding? You want to watch this? I want to watch this, so you want to watch this. However, you got roasted on your own show when you suggested just one ill thing that was factual about Black Lives Matter. I remember that your co-hosts were not about that life.
Yeah, no, I won't say I got roasted because roasted implies that I lost. I stood my ground. You know what I'm saying? But
I love your co-hosts.
Right.
Their argument was, well, they can do that. They're black. They're like white people do it all the time. Is that an excuse to do that? I don't know. Like, okay. So yes, you weren't roasted, but I hear what you're saying.
Shout out to all my white friends, man. Thank you for always making it interesting when we go out, man. If you don't have, if you don't have the type of white friends that keep it a buck with you, I got a few in my life. They come into my streams and they type things like, "How come no one talks up about racism against white people?" And I always tell them, I'm like, "Hey, man, it's just your turn."
I saw that. I actually saw that in one of your streams that somebody said that.
Yeah.
Would you like to give us an example? And he couldn't give you an example. And he's like, "How come nobody's talking about the racism about white people?" And I'm like, "What?" That is a great honorable mention. And my honorable mention, and it's funny, both of our honorable mentions accidentally ended up in the title of this episode. But mine is Dancing on the Graves of G4. G4 is finally officially dead. And for them, they mismanaged the end of that entire YouTube channel. And what to top it off, the way that the actual employees that were still sticking around found out they were fired was from the tweet they gave today. G4 said we're finally packing it up. And that's how a bunch of people found out they were fired.
Yeah, man. And this is that whole slogan, "Go woke, go broke." I've never been a real fan of that because it's hard to define what wokeness is. Sometimes I feel
it's an overused word that means everything now at this point.
Yeah, and it can very well be coded language for some type of racist, ambiguous statement where someone describes anything that doesn't correlate with their belief.
Like a female protagonist. That's so woke. Like, yo, look at this movie. In it, they have a black guy doing something.
Yeah,
that is so woke.
But G4, man, I just want to lay out the scene for you here, my brother. Just like Collider and so many other things before it, man. These were pioneers in this space, right? They real studios doing real things. Obviously they've been replaced by newer groups like No Jumper, which they don't occupy the same review space. Obviously, No Jumper is their own thing. DJ Vlad is his own thing. But it's the dream of content creators to be doing so well that you enlist and enroll everyone into a studio opportunity. Look at John Campia. He was over at Collider, obviously came from AMC prior to that, but he's got the Campia show. He's employing people now, and it's working, right? And I think it worked with Campia because people know what they're getting when they come to the show. There's no political talk, even though he will address political issues that are being levied against popular culture.
I will say this, though. His show is the most curated show on YouTube.
And it should be, it should be.
He literally has them be like, "What's the topic?" And they stick on topic, and they never let tangents ever slip out.
No, yeah.
I don't know if I like that. You like a random topic, right? You like it when people fly off the handle. We all do. I know.
Oh, I do. But Campy is the guy that's like, we're having cheese at 6, steak at 7.
I'm at 6:07.
But yeah, G4, man, talk about a relaunch that went absolutely horrible, bringing on a psychopath just out the box saying some crazy shit, attacking the core audience. No differentiation between like who could potentially be sexist and who's not sexist. And then you got this idiot, the guy who's in charge, clapping his hands. It's a bad look, man.
Yeah, I know. He made it even worse. And then he tweeted crazy stuff too. And he's known for tweeting crazy stuff. Cross completely think G4. I'm blaming. Yes, you should absolutely blame her. Actually, I sent a sassy, spicy tweet her way.
Ooh,
she just tweeted this morning. She said, "What do you think of blah 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 controllers? I'm thinking of getting a pair for my PS5. I have some fancy cool controller." And I tweeted at her, said, "Maybe you should make sure you have a new job before you start spending money."
100%, man.
But it's crazy. It's crazy how the internet culture is. Some rants and raves, people let you fly.
Right.
They don't, right?
Well, here's the thing, right? Let me ask you this question, man, because this is something we both face, right? You over at Rogue Planet, me over at the Hold Up TV, and our joint efforts together with Gray and Shaolin here on Fight Juice, right? What is the message? What is the core purpose of the channel? The core purpose is to bring entertainment to people so they can have fun. right?
Yes, it's time to have fun. It's time to have fun in nerddom. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I personally, here's what it is. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to do their own segments, but I personally don't like the negativity segments. And like I'll tell you, I flamed She-Hulk. There were times I flamed Rings of Power when they gave us bad episodes. I've even flamed House of the Dragon, but I don't stay on it. I don't stay obsessed with it. There are people who like 5 times a day how much they hate Rings of Power. That's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not a fun post. I don't want to watch all these videos of you hating on it. Like F that.
I would also say it's the identity of your channel, and what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's identity politics, right? Just because one side levies that comment against the liberals doesn't mean that the right isn't they're not guilty of doing it as well, bro. The only thing about G4 I recall is wondering when Morgan Webb and Adam Sessler were gonna
You're low, man. That's so fun.
Absolutely.
I was in love with Morgan Webb. Come on, I think we all were. I'm telling you, Frost Kieran is a nepo baby. She has a parent who's either famous or big time exec who got her into her door. She doesn't need a new job. Probably. No, you're right.
Good point, RM. So another honorable mention I just want to throw out there, Henry Cavill. Obviously,
we're going to be seeing him on Friday.
Because The Rock, who apparently is the most powerful man in Hollywood, or has the best luck after a 6-year campaign, has finally gotten Cavill back into the DCEU proper.
You know what I would never have guessed?
What?
A decade ago, I would have never guessed that the most popular man in Hollywood and most successful is a gigantic, muscular, brown man with a shaved head who was once a professional wrestler.
Right.
The fact that he's so... I loved him, and I've always loved him.
He's a great guy.
The fact that mainstream society embraces him, I love this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He is the only pro wrestler from the WWE to ever give out a belt at a real fighting event, UFC, the marquee of mixed martial arts. But they invited him to belt the winner of the BMF fight between Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal. And I was just like, man, how weird is this? The WWE and UFC have had a long-standing beef, Vince McMahon and Dana White. But they invite this guy over to do this. We're talking about a guy that basically, I don't believe in positive affirmation in the sense where you can will things into existence, but if anyone's gonna make a strong argument for it, it's the guy that was in the worst reboot of Hercules I've ever seen.
And like, you know what it is? He's blessed.
Ooh, highly favored.
Blessed him.
Highly favored, man. Highly favored.
RM says, but they're in life real friends, right? Makes sense that he would have his back. Absolutely. I have a feeling. I definitely have a feeling that The Rock had to fight for him. I think he definitely had to fight for him.
So apparently Zaslav, or is that the new guy's name? The new so Zaslav is a fan of Henry Cavill. So I would disagree in the sense that I don't think that he had to fight hard. He literally said that the old regime is who he was fighting. And as soon as Zaslav came in, he was like, and this goes to your theory about Zaslav wanting to reinstate some version of the Snyderverse. He was like, I loved Man of Steel. Get that motherfucker back in.
Yes, please. I hope they'll be announcing a sequel, man. Man of Steel 2, baby. Lady says, can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
And it's plantains, and they smell delicious.
Who else is skeptically hopeful about Black Adam? So
this guy right here.
Here's the thing. I'm super, super hopeful. I'm super, super happy. I'm super, super excited. I am on the positive train right now until I personally see something that knocks me off of it.
Okay, I can dig that. Early reviews obviously have come out. Embargo partially lifted. I always say partially because people aren't giving their full throttle, I think, into the public goes. The only complaint is the villain is weak, but it was a great time, is what I'm hearing.
So all I need, and you know what? That sounds like a Marvel movie to me. Oh, shock! But as long as I have heard that it's once the action starts, it does not stop. For like an hour and a half. It's constant action, and that's all I can hope for these days.
Yeah. When I went to go see 300 Rise of the Empire with Zeus and young Ray, you might remember him from The Wedding. Zeus made a great point, which was, I didn't come to this movie for anything other than to see Spartans be badass, and they didn't deliver on that. So as long as The Rock delivers on that promise, but he's using all the right language, right? He's saying all the appropriate things. You know, we want to give the fans what they want. We want to start doing things. Bro, I'm starting to think, man, I'm going crazy thinking that shit right now. I'm starting to think that The Rock might be the Kevin Feige for the DCEU. I'm really starting to think this, bro. Like he's saying,
you know what it is? Even after the event, hopefully they eventually dispatch Black Adam.
Right.
I mean, if he really makes these movies a success, I'd be into it. And so my understanding is that the rumor is that at the end of the movie, he gains like incredible amounts of power.
Right.
And if it's a huge success, the next movie, supposedly, well, remember, this is rumor mill, will be Black Adam versus Justice League. However, if it's a moderate success, his next movie will be Black Adam versus Shazam.
Okay, so not bad either way it goes, right? Not bad, not a bad turnout. I want this movie. I want to go on record in saying that I want this movie to succeed for the same things I've been saying. I want to win for The Rock. I want to win for the DCEU fans, all you diehards. I'm not calling you tryhards, respectfully. I'm calling you diehards. I want to differentiate you from the Snyderverse cult, right? Because there's most certainly a cult in that sector, because we're going to get into that in a second. I want this movie to be good, and everything I'm hearing about it is it's a good time. And in fact, I think that's the appropriate bar, given what we've seen from Phase 4 with Marvel. Marvel has moved away from a good time, right? You know, I want to go see a movie and be entertained. I don't mind some commentary, social or otherwise, but at the end of the day, I did just give you $25 to be entertained.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. At the end of the day, I don't even care. That's what I want. I want to be entertained. I don't need messages. I don't need whatever. And actually, you know what's actually funny? Here's what I'm saying. And you have to just hear me out, though. I don't believe, like for instance, Black Panther 1. I don't believe there was a message. Was there a nuanced story that happened to do with blackness in both Africa and America? Yes. Is that a message? I would say no. You see what I mean? I think there's a difference between those.
I know. I see what you're saying.
Because honestly, if they had if Black Panther and Adam were the end boss is some white cis male being like, "I'm going to exploit Africa."
No, but here's the thing: the message, and this is something I think I've attempted to be consistent in, and I think that I have been. If you can make it make sense and the story is great, then you'll get no complaint from me. And the story about the struggle between T'Challa and Killmonger, the broken family, which was the treachery, it was more Shakespearean than anything else.
So Shakespearean and across the board.
Yeah, and it touched on a few things, right? It's like, the sense of a father, how much is a son get culpable in that. It also touched on, relations between
abandoning your son. Stuff like that sort of thing. The kid who's left out of the village, that sort of things.
Yeah, and they did it well. And this is why, I'm walking into Wakanda Forever going, they're going to tell a story here. There's a story, and I think Ryan Coogler, the same guy who brought us Creed, for God's sakes, is more concerned with being an artist and bringing a good story. So
right. As long as suddenly at one point Namor doesn't look at the camera and go, and you should raise the minimum wage.
And forgive the student debt.
Forgive the student debt, for Christ's sake, Dr. Doom.
So Lo says, I hope that Black Adam is still overall bad.
And he's bad as in a villain.
And Lo had said, right beneath the comment you're saying, Snyderverse is heaven. Don't you dare slander it. All right. So here we go. Let me get into the fanatical behaviors of some, not all, unless you fit this bubble, Snyderverse cultists.
Wait, before you do, real quick, the villain statement. I got to say, Marvel did it again with She-Hulk. Drove me freaking crazy where they make the villain not a villain at the end. When Abomination, instead of having a fight, which the Abomination would do, is like, you know what? I'm going to turn myself in. I'm going to go to prison. That was horrible.
Yeah.
Why won't Marvel let them be villains. I don't understand why do they have this forgiveness thing with all the villains? It's so disgusting.
We're gonna get into that with our next topic, but I think funny enough, they have the Kevin AI. I think the Kevin AI has received the appropriate dose from the algorithm, which is nobody wants any more of that.
Yes, no more.
So here's the problem with that, and I'll just slightly get into it. You hold me accountable here. I think that too many people were depressed after they walked out of Infinity War and Endgame, and Kevin Feige took that too much to heart, right? He took it too much to heart, like, oh my God, we had a real villain. There were real consequences. There were stakes. People got thrown off mountains. People got dusted. They left the movie dejected, but that's what made Infinity War great.
Well, that's what trauma is, man. The struggle between life and death, it has to be real for us to actually feel something.
That's why Black Panther was great. Yeah, when Killmonger stabbed freaking Forrest Whitaker, that's a real moment. Like, that's a real villain. We all forgot about his political leanings at that point. I'm like, this dude is serious, right? You need real evil. When Thanos threw Gamora off that thing, even though he was teary-eyed, it was like, I'm still going to throw you off this rock.
Courtney says I'm excited for JSA. I am absolutely excited for JSA.
Apparently, Pierce Brosnan, amazing in this movie.
I believe it. I think he's a great actor. I love him.
He's an amazing actor, except for the Bond stuff. He was great in the Bond movies, but his Bond movies sucked overall.
Well, it was the 90s. Remember, 90s?
Yeah, everything sucked.
Made some crazy. It was a crazy time.
Everything sucked, and everyone was sucking. What?
And he's the one talking about sucking this time. It's not me talking about pervert shit, okay?
But real quick, I gotta say, man, I had so much fun with the great debate about sex in regards to Anne Rice. But you having to read that part over and over again.
That's what I was getting at. Last week I was the pervert because I had to keep rereading it and sexualizing the vampires, who are gay dudes, by the way. And we're trying to decipher if her verbiage was that he was wrecked or not.
I mean, it was a great moment for me. Pause in regards to the literal reading of it. I'm just like, oh man, those stupid literary classes I took, in the IS schools, they finally paid off. Reading the Iliad in the 3rd grade has finally came back.
Probably thought it would never pay off.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it would. So let's get into the cult movement of
I hear your thoughts on the cult.
The Snyderverse. Not all, some. There is a small, I don't know how big, but boisterous campaign from the Snyder cult that this movie should be boycotted and Henry Cavill should be boycotted because he came back without the Snyderverse. Yeah, it's on Twitter. These people, they're going in. Apparently, somehow, Henry Cavill should be held accountable for coming back after his friend, as RM pointed out, and also his manager buddy, The Rock's ex-wife, Danny, is Henry Cavill's manager, that he owes Snyder some type of, loyalty in regards to should he have come back without fully reinstating Zack Snyder.
Sorry, yeah. I'm not trying. I want you to go on with your thought, but I know what you mean.
It's a cult. It's a cult movement.
These people are insane. I can't stand it. I can't stand it when they attack somebody. Here's what it is. I am a huge Snyder fan. Yeah. However, I don't think he's the only one who can direct DC movies. Give other people a chance. And a certain YouTuber, shall we call them X, claims that Henry Cavill's hated out in the industry, but I don't believe that. I believe it is Zack Snyder who's hated, and Henry Cavill and the crew are reaching the fallout of that.
So here's the thing.
We don't want your Superman. We want another one just because he's your Superman.
No, but here's the thing, right? Henry Cavill was hated, and by my estimation, in the industry, if he is hated, because I know what you're referring to, because he's beloved by fans. For God's sakes, the man built a computer, right? There's Linus Tech, there's a bit. There are all these big YouTubers who build PCs on a day-to-day basis, Linus being the most popular. But none of them have ever been accused of having sex appeal. Henry Cavill builds a computer on YouTube, and women went crazy.
Yes.
Two women, Star Wars girl and another woman from IGN.
I will never repeat because that is.
from IGN. They both said the same thing. I feel like after watching that video, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Aaron says, "God damn it! I found better proof after the stream ended." Maybe we should have another stream, another vampire stream where we could talk about it.
RM, I want you to know this. If you don't know this about me, RM, right after the stream, I also found proof that 100%.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. Here's what I'm saying. I couldn't get as a producer, I failed to get enough people into a group stream for She-Hulk. However, what do you say about this? When Interview with the Vampire finishes, we do a joint episode of Rogue Planet where it's you, me, RM, and Public Friend is also a huge fan.
Okay, I'm in for that.
And we all discuss it. We discuss the show. We discuss everything.
So I want to dispel something right now, right? There's this false narrative about me that I can't admit when I'm wrong. I know that I'm wrong. I don't have a problem with that. I'm saying that you're not arguing with me. You're arguing with Anne Rice. And let's say hypothetically, I was to produce a video where Anne Rice says the vampires can have sex. Would you buck up against that?
Wait, can't? You actually feel like you might know a video where she says they can't.
I'm just look. I don't want to show my hand.
I'm dying to see this video.
Now, the question
Matt.
becomes:
Hello, what up, brother?
What up, Matt?
Hail to the chat. Hail Mantis. Hail Steve. The computer building was hot.
The computer building was so hot. RM says, "Oh, I'm not getting into it now." See, this is the beef that me and RM have, and it has nothing to do with Anne Rice, right? It's because I worked for Norman Sound and Vision, and RM worked for Kim's, that lowly slum of a store on St. Mark's. You know, Norman Sound and Vision, we were the higher echelon, right? So this has been something that we've been going back and forth for. You know, it's a Bowery battle.
Fights that go back generations. When I mean generations, I mean 1999. Courtney says, "Yeah, now, GoldenEye was good, Steve. I 1,000% agree. I think it's one of the best. It's one of my favorite Bonds, GoldenEye.
I mean, look, I'm not trying to rob anyone of their childhood.
Boromir was in it, man. Boromir.
GoldenEye, just go watch it now. That's all I'm saying. Wait, so back to the Snyder Cult.
Right.
Your thoughts? People wanting to boycott because they have an issue with Henry Cavill.
They are going to chase away our Snyder. Here's what it is. I want the Snyderverse, but I don't care if Snyder's involved in it. I don't need Snyder to be involved in it. I just want here's what it is. I don't want drastic casting changes and character changes. I just want that Justice League to continue to be in movies and do stuff. Because I don't think they had their full tank. So I'm hoping for a Man of Steel 2. I'm looking for a Justice League 2, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be Snyder. These motherfuckers who are obsessed with Snyder, they're blowing him off screen or whatever. They are going to chase off David Zaslav's going to be like, yo, they're threatening my life. Fuck this and cancel everything.
Like a boss should, right? And that's how you deal with it. I mean, the Snyder Cut was an amazing fan movement, right? The fact that it actually happened. I thought it was also a great marketing movement by the WB. But listen, Cavill's coming back. The Rock did right by his buddy, and his manager Danny did right by Henry Cavill. I really
doing right by the fans as well. That's the good.
Everyone wins in this. If this movie's good, it's gonna be great. The Rock's been saying a lot of things that make sense. They asked him about the competition between the DCEU and the MCU, and he's like, "You can't topple that machine." And I was like, "Wow, that's a clear thinking guy right there." He's like, "You can't beat it." He's like, "You can't beat it at this point. We just have to do our own thing and have the fans enjoy it, which will be the way you beat the MCU. More wins in regards to fans, and it doesn't mean you have to lean into fanfare, but if the fans feel like they're being appreciated and valued, it's going to be worth something."
Right. I absolutely agree, and I feel valued again. I feel like they care about me again, not like Marvel. Marvel doesn't care. Insensitive. RM says, "Oh my God, Zack Snyder has had some good ideas and deserves respect in the DCEU, but he should not be worshipped and made into the only one who can guide the EU." I absolutely agree. That man can do no wrong. I believe Laney is speaking of
Henry Cavill.
Yes, Henry Cavill. Oh, let's get Laney on that stream as well. That'll be
yeah. I've been enjoying the Interview with Vampire show. I got to tell you. Really enjoyed it. I had some issues at the beginning of this week's episode, no spoilers, but then I realized the genius of the show I was supposed to be feeling the way that I was feeling, right? I was like, oh, this is different than I'm used to. And I'm like, oh, wait, they have a vision of their own. I enjoy what they're doing right now. So,
right.
I'm
really enjoying what they're doing over there. But in terms of the thing, so there's also the rumors getting back to Snyder that Henry Cavill is also going to end up being in the final team for the Justice League at Flash, in which case I don't want to support Ezra Miller, but I will, because I need my Henry Cavill back. And it's not just Cavill. I don't want any of them to go. I don't even want Ben Affleck to go. Yo, here's what I'm saying. Ben Affleck was with the wrong woman when he was filming those Batman, as Batman. Here's what I'm saying.
Which one was he with at the time? Was it Jennifer Garner? Or
Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah.
But now he's back with what's her face.
He's with J-Lo.
Now he's with J-Lo. That's the right J. And so now that he's with her, I think he's emotionally strong enough to be Batman.
Yeah, I think he's also sober, which is huge.
Well, Jennifer Gardner is clearly one of those women who will drive you to drink.
Oh, we
need women who lift us up, not tear us down.
Ooh, Manson's going red pill on you.
Yeah. You don't mess with Batman. That's what I'm saying. This chick messed with Batman. She ruined our Batman. I think that he can come back. I think all of the Justice League are viable, except for Ezra Miller. We need to arrest him. And we need to make the Flash Force go to Wally West.
If not Wally West, man, just do something that would be extremely daring but really fan serving. There's only one thing I would redeem from the CW, and it's the kid who plays the Flash.
Right.
Out, put him in.
Yeah, that would be great.
Everything. I fixed it
all.
If
figure out an explanation on how that works visually, like in the movie, I'm fine. But just get another actor, but I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I was there when Young Man Kim was arrested. We all know he was grimy.
Oh, yeah. Young Man Kim is from Kim's, the store.
From Kim's video.
Yeah. Listen, RM, you guys sold some great pirated DVDs and you sold fake white labels. And I never held that against you, RM. But I remember one day when I was working at Norman Sound and Vision, I walked into Kim's to buy my Japanese DVD player that could play world region DVDs, right? It was a big deal. And I'll never forget the elitist attitude I had to face from people with pink hair. And I was just like, what the hell? Who do you people think you are?
I've never seen a Bond movie. Yo, you haven't lived, man. I mean, they are sometimes the greatest thing you've ever seen, but also sometimes the worst thing you ever see. It's really a gamble.
I'll say this, man. Bring Cavill back, bring Gal Gadot back, and let's keep Momoa obviously as Aquaman. I think that was proof. $1 billion franchise right there. WB doing everything they can to destroy that. I say bring back Suicide Squad 2, the same squad that we had and we enjoyed. Shout out to Idris Elba, because he's a guy like The Rock who is beloved, but has been in some horrible friggin' movies, right? But he's beloved.
You know what it is? He blew up so quick as Game of Thrones. Because remember, he was playing a barbarian who barely spoke English in Game of Thrones. They didn't think he was going to blow up. Yeah, he has a long history of doing the cheesiest movies, particularly horror movies.
Right.
Saw him in this Werewolf Jam, where he's a werewolf surfer. I saw this one where I don't know. He's been in these weird shit.
Right.
And, because he could only get a job being a guy with a good physique, So
he does it well. He does that
well. Absolutely well. So you know my whole theory about how to save Wonder Woman 3, right? You know how Rock is movie
I don't
steroids?
know this.
You know Rock is the movie steroids?
Right.
You know who DC steroids are? You know who it is. Who's their Wolverine? That if he guest stars, he saves your comic. Batman. Here's what I'm saying. We put him as a guest star in Wonder Woman 3. Check this out. In her romantic arc, she has a romantic endeavor with Steve Trevor. 2, she's waited 80 years, but she's unable to love. But however, she gets to visit by his ghost and the weird genie stuff, and then she has to let him go. Now in the third one, I'm saying she's ready to love. So not only should Batman be there to be like a guest star, but they should bang.
I think this is a great year of Genius. I love their little interactions in B versus S. I love it in the Justice League. There's obviously some tension there.
Going on.
Yeah, So here's the thing. There's a great episode or movie, animated movie, where in Wonder Woman and Batman have to fight the parasite in the animated movies, right? And the parasite's taking over Superman, but there's such a tension and respect between them. Why wouldn't you ship Batman and Wonder Woman? Why wouldn't an Amazonian respect the fuck out of Batman? And why wouldn't he respect Wonder Woman? It's perfect. You're a genius, man.
Yeah.
You should write movies, bro.
I should. Are you listening, world? Producers of the world, come to me. I'll fix whatever broken franchise you have. But I'm telling you, people would fly. Here's what it is. People who are skeptical who saw 1984 and like hated it, they will come for Batman. And then people who ship Wonder Woman Batman will definitely come. And then they'll have $1 billion hit again. And it'll be wonderful.
Yeah. It's an easy win. I want to go to something that Courtney says there in the chat. Affleck was a great Batman. He was written as a homicidal maniac, but that was Snyder. So I gotta tell you, one of my favorite parts of Batman versus Superman, extended or regular cut, was how jarring it was. I was more disturbed by Batman killing people than Superman snapping Zog's neck in Man of Steel, because it was insane. Like, there's literally a moment when he kills the first villain, like the first henchman in that movie. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, did Batman just shoot up a van full of people? It's fucking amazing.
Matt says, I'm going to see the Flash movie. I don't care how many Icelandic bitches he chokes out.
Oh, wow.
he was banging the nanny back then. Don't blame poor Jennifer Gardner. Well, maybe he had to cheat because she was, Jennifer Gardner drove him to it.
That just went real red pill. He's like, it's not my fault. You're making me do this. It's the Schwarzenegger argument.
You won't emasculate me with all this nagging. I had to bang the nanny.
I told you I hate apple fritters, Jennifer. Please, I don't want any more pumpkin spice. Just give me my rum.
Cheat, and I just go around cheating. Matt says, I met Jennifer Gardner. She was so nice. Oh, wow. Crazy. I blame her for the downfall of Ben Affleck.
Ladies like Idris Elba. Yeah, let's talk about Idris Elba here for a second, because, like The Rock, beloved, right? But not been in a lot of great stuff since, obviously, The Wire. But I thought he was great in the Suicide Squad, too,
Amazing, man. Yo, that was one of my favorite superhero movies, to be honest.
But very emotional. Amazing. I was very emotional after that movie. That goddamn starfish, when it said before it died, and it's like, I was in the cosmos by myself. This is so horrible. The liberal strike again.
That was horrible, man. What they did to him. That was a whole Peacemaker and what's his face and Rick Flag thing. Idris Elba, that's just amazing scenes. Like, remember when oh my God, in the finale when Peacemaker's gonna shoot the girl and he fires and the floor is giving way and he falls down at the right time, and then like, that was just an amazing sequence, man. That was like, oh, I love
it. That movie was the perfect redeeming arc. We got to jump into something that
nobody gives a damn about. Fun, because it was well written.
Bro, when fucking Sharkman, whatever his name is, when he's having that moment with the killer starfish, and then they break out the tank and start,
and they start trying to eat him.
Oh my God, he's gonna die! I'm like,
but that was cute. And he finally had a friend who understood him. Other aquatic life. Matt says, I have so many thoughts about Wonder Woman. I like Elba also, but he picks the worst projects. He needs to come back to Suicide Squad 2. He needs a big franchise. So I guess technically it would be Suicide Squad 3, right? But whatever. Who's counting? I always like Wonder Woman as Batman as a couple, says Courtney. It needs to happen. I mean, if they had half a brain, that's what they would do. Just give Ben Affleck his money. You don't even have to put him for the whole movie. If he just wants to be there for like 45 minutes of it, boom.
Yeah. And you know what we don't need in a DCEU anytime soon, because I think they would be compelled to do this. We don't need any crisis events. In fact, someone needs to write a letter to DC. I just went back the other day and did some research on how many crisis events DC has had. I'm like, they need to be stopped.
So here's what happens. Marvel didn't nearly do it as much with Secret Wars, but they found out people like the first Crisis so much that every time DC put the word crisis in something, sometimes they put things like crisis in it, and it had nothing to do with the other crises. Like Identity Crisis has nothing to do with the other crises.
Right.
But like, it would just sell, right? And so the Marvel's tried that too. Like Secret Wars was really good. Then they tried Secret Wars 2, and it was like, okay. And then they did Secret War with no S. Then they did Secret Wars, no, like putting the 3 on it. They're just like reusing titles, which I liked. That's the main one where Doctor Doom's in white and becomes a god and stuff. But I think they ran out of steam. I think they tried it fourth time.
When it becomes, the new battle world.
But yeah, Crisis went nuts, man. Crisis was just like, there's like,
well, now they're in a Dark Crisis event, right? And they did what DC does, which is they
overplay.
They brought back a fan favorite, a cult classic, which is the Great Darkness, only for us to find out that the Great Darkness is not the real big bad. It's Pariah, and I'm like, again, like didn't we deal with this shit?
Yeah, no, like here's the thing I really hate. I used to love like company-wide events, and both Marvel and DC have ruined them, man. There was a period when oh my dear, what is happening to my face? There was a period where I love Civil War, I love Secret Invasion, I love World War Hulk, I love Siege, I love Dark Avengers, and then it just kept going and going, and it just got to this point where I was just like, what are we doing, yo? Can they just mellow out? Like every summer, superhero comics, whatever they're doing, they have to stop doing what they're doing so they can join like some group event. No word yet of Steve, Mr. Holder, who has vanished from the stream, which we're cool about this. But yo, guys, what are your thoughts on Crisis, and what are your guys' thoughts on comic book shared events? And actually, Courtney, I do agree with you. It very much was Snyder who's responsible for making Batman too dark. Snyder had a tendency to just go way too dark. I love what he's done, but I think they should. I think actually the DC movies are completely salvageable, and that if you gave them to other, if you gave them to other writers and stuff, they would, other writers, directors, they'd be able to pull it. This is the testing. One in the chat if you can hear me, because I'm actually not sure. Am I online right now? Because I don't see my chat moving around. Oh, here we go. Here's this guy. What's up?
What's up? I don't know what it's glitching, but I'm gonna power my way through it. I didn't know if it was me or not.
Was it my internet or was it yours? Oh, comments. Everyone can still hear me.
No need to get into blaming and all that stuff. It's yours.
I don't know. They could still hear me. They have ones in the chat, so everything's cool. But I was thinking about my hatred for these kind of shared events. I used to love them, and now I'm just done with it. And it's too often, and there's nothing like reading like a steady arc from an actual comic, like reading an X-Men comic from like 18 of them in a row that are all linked, and it's great. And I don't know why the Hulk has to show up.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just going through God of Hammers, the Thor event, a mini Thor event, and at one point Wolverine was there.
What, everyone gets a hammer in that one?
Yeah. Everyone's able to pick up Thor's hammer, and it's just one of those things where I was like, I agree with you. It's like, why does everyone need to be in this comic?
Yeah, why is Wolverine showing up?
Yeah, like what does he have to add to this scenario? What else we got, man?
Ultimatum ruined all crossover events for me.
Yeah. Wait, did you say Wolverine ruins all crossover events?
No, he said Ultimatum. Ultimatum from Ultimate Comics. The thing that basically ruined
Oh yeah.
Ultimate Comics is they had like it
Yeah,
was
you know
just
what?
insane. Like Magneto messes with the Earth's gravity so that there's a tidal wave, and just like a bunch of heroes die, they just drown. Like not even in a fight, they just die. And then all this weird shit was going on. And okay, so I see that I am having we're having issues seeing you, Steve, but we still love you, man, wherever you are. But Public Friend says we can hear you, and I can hear you too, Public Friend. How are you? Thank you for stopping by Fanboy Modeling School. That means a lot to me. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. What else is going on in entertainment news, guys?
Yeah, it's my internet. My bad, man. Sorry.
I know it's all right. It's not your fault. You know, actually,
well, I mean, I know it's not my fault. I'm a rich person. Nothing that ever happens is my fault. So somewhere in this, there's a poor person that I can hold accountable for this, and we'll find out.
You know, the one thing people can't control is their internet connection.
Are you say the one thing people can't control?
Yeah, you were responsible for everything else, but if you're late, if you're a bastard, if you're drunk, if you're stupid, if you're incompetent, if you're lazy, it's all your fault. But your internet connection is not.
I feel like this is a dig for like old school fanboy when I'm like, God damn it, man, you're fucking poor people internet. You figure this shit out.
It used to be my fault, but now I guess it's yours, bro. Marvel delays. We got delays on Marvel across the board. Yo, they hit us up with another Black Panther one.
What do you mean? What happened? What did I miss?
They can't settle on a date right now because they're still looking on the director and they're still, you know what I'm saying? And like,
so we were talking about this in the green room before we started the show. I'm actually excited about the Marvel delays, and I'm looking at this from the vantage point of quality control. Like, I don't mind if things are delayed. If you're telling me that the delayed project is going to be better, right? Delaying it is going to make it better. Obviously, I wanted Blade to come out as soon as possible, but you know, I would rather see a good Blade versus a bad Blade, right? I would rather see a better version of that character, because I'm going to throw this out here, and it may upset some people. None of the amazing people that are here now. You wouldn't have these movies to watch if it wasn't for Wesley Snipes' Blade 1. You most certainly wouldn't have it if Blade 2 didn't do well. Right. So I need Blade to be respected, but you know, after She-Hulk, aren't you happy that things are delayed? Aren't you happy?
She-Hulk was a menace to my senses and my feelings and my emotions. It was, and you know what it is? I really wanted to like it, and I think why I wanted to like it is I wanted to fight against the trolls who were attacking it because she's a woman. There were people who didn't want to like it before any episodes came out.
Yeah, and those people are idiots. But just like my prom date, I pulled out early, so there was no need for me to like worry about any consequences.
He's gonna get a knock on the door soon. That's 19 years.
I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through another Moon Knight. I don't want to sit around talking about how it could have been great. Right? I want to see something great.
I want to see great. Yeah, Harrison Ford is going to be Red Hulk, says Matt. Yeah, that's.
Yes. Your thoughts on that?
You know, I don't like old people, right?
What?
I don't like the elderly. I don't think they should be.
Oh, that's right. You don't like, you don't like to breathe around them. I notice whenever there are old people around you, you kind of hold your breath. You're gonna catch it.
Honestly, I think if there's gonna be an old person in a movie, it should be a young person just wearing old person makeup. You know, like the guy from those ads where he's dancing around.
Yeah, the Six Flags guy.
Yeah, that's what they need to do, and so that's who they should cast as the Red Hulk. Harrison Ford, I don't need him going on stage and being like, where am I? You know, I once shot first. Like, I don't need that old man shit.
Okay.
And so he's gonna have his walker and all this shit. I don't need it. They should. Yo, why do they bother casting old people if they're just gonna die on you?
This is taking a dark turn. I mean, people die, man. This is what happens.
Fuck that. I say, hire one of these young, attractive drug addicts. They could die too.
Okay. So Marvel delays, right? What is the correct term when someone is biased against elderly people? There's got to be some liberal term for that, right? What is it called? Is it are you ageist? Are you an ageist?
I think I might be an ageist. I think I might be a total ageist. Matt, I can't read your read your message because it'll get me kicked off of YouTube. But thank you for that. He said I'm a sweet talker. I'm like, hey girl, I'm gonna get you pregnant. In my experience, I've only met one girl who's like into that. Like all the other women are just want the opposite.
Wait, who's the one girl? Don't say her name, but who was the one girl?
I'm not, but I'm just saying I met this person on Spoon. It's not who you think it is. And this person had a getting pregnant kink, and they were telling me about it.
Okay.
And I was like, never touching you. Because that's the type of girl who will poke holes in your
Well, Drake has taught us there's a way to deal with that. Pull the condom off, put Tabasco sauce in it, right? Drake went far enough where he ran and put Tabasco sauce in a condom that he suspected the woman was going to keep and do some nefarious thing with. We digress. Delays in Marvel. This is a good thing, man. It's got to be a good thing, right? At some point, we have to be willing to accept the fact that a delay is course correction, right? Like I'm hoping it doesn't have to be. I'm hoping that they're acknowledging that they've given. Go ahead.
Here's my prediction.
Go for it.
I agree with you. I do think they're doing course correction. I think he's doing good. But here's what I'm saying. I predict it's going to be a short bump, only a short bump. But I believe Marvel's going to start being more and more delays and making less content per year, which is going to give DC a chance to produce more content and for a short amount of time be competitive. I don't think it's going to last long, but I think they'll be competitive for a short amount of time.
I agree with you. I would direct you to some words you sent me in the message once. So you were like, don't get caught up in this fanboy DC versus Marvel shit. It's all for our entertainment. And I'm feeling that way with Black Adam. But in regards to this whole Marvel thing, man, I don't want to sit through another She-Hulk scenario, right? I did enjoy the Daredevil episode.
I did.
I thought it was good. I'm not mad at that shipping. I actually thought it was pretty cool that he was at the family dinner at the culmination of the episode. I did not enjoy the entire fourth wall breaking and the writers and all that bullshit because those writers suck. Now, had it been writers that, said their vampires can't have sex and you're breaking the fourth wall with those people, then okay, that's a conversation I want to have and see it played out. But I don't want more bad shit from Marvel, man. I feel like we've moved in a great direction.
Yo, Shield really did damage them. People think that we're when critics and YouTubers are talking about that they're exaggerating. No, I really do think She-Hulk damaged them. Their word. It makes me not trust Marvel's decisions and think what
makes me not trust the fact that the man that guided us to this place, let's give him all the praise and all the credit. You take a step back and the quality of the product drops, right?
It's yes, right. No, absolutely. Because basically here's what I'm saying. People can only be on top for so long.
Right.
It's true. You're eventually going to fall off. The thing is, me and you, we don't know when they're going to fall off. Tom Brady could totally have a horrible game the rest of the season. A horrible game.
And he has.
I don't think he's been horrible, but I think he's going. That's another case.
Okay, here comes the Tom Brady apologist.
No, but I'm saying that's another case of a woman ripping a man down. I blame Giselle. But the point is, you never know when someone's going to fall off. And so what I'm saying is, we don't know. For all we know, Kevin Feige has produced his last great movie.
Good point. But here's the thing, right? When you're running a well-oiled machine, right, and people are so vocal about what they don't like, even if you think some of these people are complete psychopaths, there's got to be a level of self-accountability. Like, objectively speaking, you have to look at She-Hulk and go, this was not good.
It's not good on any level. It's really not good on any level. There's been one or two good episodes, but I would say most episodes fall off. Like, for instance, the Daredevil one, I liked most of it, and then when Daredevil leaves, they haven't all the parts that they tacked on were horrible.
So, but I agree. And now I'm going to say something that's going to upset you. I often felt that way about She-Hulk in the comics. Like, let's stop pretending that this shit is interesting, right? Because it almost followed verbatim canon.
Okay. No. It's not. Here's what I'm saying. They took a lot of sequences and gimmicks from the comic, but they mix matched it and they did it less funny. Basically.
Wait, what did RM just write right now?
They claim to blame Giselle because she's a descendant from National Socialist Germans from the 40s.
Okay.
You know that? You know about that whole thing?
Yeah.
So she had some grandparents or something that were,
Who doesn't? Who doesn't have a grandparent that wasn't mixed up in bullshit?
Yeah. Right. So
go ahead.
That is funny that she's saying it's all right to say horrible things about this woman because of her ancestors, but basically, here's what I'm saying. She-Hulk, like the rest of the Avengers, you had to have a big heart to collect her comic when I was young, when I was a young man. Because here's what I'm saying. There was X-Men that was top tier comic booking. There was Batman that was top tier comic booking.
Okay.
And things like the Avengers weren't B's, they were C's. Captain America storylines, here's what I'm saying. If you look at any character's stuff, covers from the 50s and 60s, they're going to be silly, really silly covers. But by the 80s and the 90s, that should not be that way. They should be normal adventures. If you look at the Avengers, they're having very stupid adventures. They're like the Avengers versus a genie. They're like, what? Captain America's turning into a werewolf this week, and I'm like, and you see him like a werewolf wearing a Captain America costume, and I was like, and so her stories weren't that sophisticated. I agree, it wasn't X-Men level writing,
right?
So I forgive her for that. You know what I mean?
What? That's the thing I don't understand. You're like, it's bad, but I forgive it because of this.
You know what it was? Just because X-Men were like the cool superheroes, but the Avengers were the nerd, like unapologetic superheroes, and I respect them for being nerds. You know.
All right. I'll respect nerddom. That I'll give you. But here's what we do need, right? We can't sit through another Miss Marvel. We can't sit through another She-Hulk. And if they're going to delay everything and make it better, and they're going to, improve the quality of the content, I'm cool with that. Everyone can have a bad day, right? But you can't have another Eternals when you're the leader. When you are at the highest standard and people measure you as the standard, you got to be good. You have to produce good shit. This is me. You called me a MCU shill at one point in a drunken stupor. You were very violent that night. But I'm saying that I stopped watching She-Hulk after episode 3 because I knew what was coming. Just like I stopped watching House of Dragons because I know you're all a bunch of ancestral, perverts.
Wait, you didn't go back?
No, I'm not going. I'm standing on this firm. It's more of the same shit. It's more of the same shit, bro.
House of the Dragon is amazing, bro.
I believe right now what's amazing. I'm thinking about season 2, season 3, and then eventually the dip comes.
You know what it is? You're scared of getting hurt. That's what it is. You're like
100%. Like, one girl cheats on me, I blame all women.
Steve, it's all right to love again.
No. That's communist talk.
I just think that I think it's okay to love again. But then again, I don't want to love on Marvel right now. What's their next project?
Okay, so what do we have coming up next? We have Wakanda Forever, and then there's going to be a noticeable gap. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to see Wakanda Forever and enjoy that movie. Have a great time, and I'll find something else to occupy my time.
Ant-Man in February or something. I think it's like Ant-Man.
I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on Ant-Man?
I think the worst thing they could. This is what I hate when Marvel takes the plots from other things, and so taking Ultron away from Ant-Man destroyed Ant-Man.
Okay,
It's like unable to be cool because he doesn't have his best villain or his best plot, right? So I just think that was disastrous. And like they're like, we're gonna put Kang in this, and we're gonna put MODOK in this. I'm like, they're not even really Ant-Man villains. So what are they even doing there? Like, what is? I don't even know. I feel like it's gonna be a monstrosity that we're gonna get.
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about Kang as the big bad in the MCU right now? Do you feel like you've gotten enough to believe that he's an actual threat, other than what you've seen in Loki?
I admit that honestly, they may have rushed Thanos. I think that maybe they should have had an Avengers movie where Kang, like Avengers 3 should have been a Kang movie, and then you work your way up to Thanos. Because I don't know how Kang can possibly be as big a threat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what, yeah, I'm fine with him being a villain, the main villain, but like, he's no Thanos. They're downgrading right now. You know? Oh, it's okay to blame Giselle. I've yet to bring myself to watch the finale of She-Hulk. Do yourself a favor, Lainey. If you don't have a desire to, don't do it. Just nope. I don't think Kang is the best next. Yeah, Matt. Who would you? And this for everyone in the chat. Who would you make the big bad? But yeah, Kang. I like Jonathan Majors as Kang, but I just, in terms of the comics and when I've seen of him, I don't believe him to be such a threat. My buddy has left me. It's okay. We'll have fun without his ass. I can't believe he stopped watching House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon's so good. I will complain about Rhaenyra, but other than that, I think it's just a really good show. I really love this last episode. The last episode of House of the Dragon was so good. But honestly, I would have. Steve, who would you have as your villain, if not Kang?
So for this next phase, if it wasn't Kang, I definitely would have probably. We're going into Secret Wars, Doctor Doom, Molecule Man, Beyonder. Right. Makes the most sense. Kang has always been one of those villains where I just don't understand why people love him so much. I don't get it. To be
honestly, I would have had an AIM and MODOK one. You know, I would have had given them a shot. Yeah.
No, nobody wants.
We love MODOK.
Nobody loves MODOK.
I love MODOK.
No,
yo, who in the chat? Yo, one's in the chat if you love MODOK.
Nobody loves MODOK. It's not a real thing.
Oh, look, Matt says the same thing. I think they should have had a Doctor Doom, but I want to see Galactus, but that might also be only one movie. Yeah, I mean, they got to work up to Galactus, definitely.
So here's the thing, right? So it's hard to go from the Infinity Saga if you're a comic book fan and then think about anyone else after an Infinity Gauntlet event. Even if we didn't get the Infinity Gauntlet proper, Kang is one of those characters, like, he's always popped up and he's like, yeah, time-faring, traveling shenanigans.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
No, I agree. But like, I'm trying. Oh, look, and then he says you're missing out not watching Hot D. It's a must-watch show.
What?
Hot D is House of the Dragon, my man. It even has a fire-ass nickname. Hot D. Who's ready for some Hot D this Friday? I know. I mean,
pause.
Dad says, I'm not a MODOK fan. I love you.
MODOK sucks.
However, I do believe, like, check this out. Like, I don't, like, before Captain America left, it really pisses me off that, like, here are certain villains that I think our heroes missed out on some of their best villains.
Okay, shoot it.
And so I think MODOK should have first appeared in an Iron Man movie as an Iron Man villain. He should have been like an Iron Man 3 villain or something.
Right.
I think that the Serpent Society should have been in a Captain America movie. I think Enchantress and the Wreckers, the Wrecking Crew being her servants, should have been a Thor movie. They should have been the villains of the second one.
Okay.
And so they're for some reason they're not really hitting up their major villains.
I agree with you. Here is how we fix this, right? You don't make Love and Thunder, right? Because if you're not going to make Love and Thunder and have Gore be a credible like villain,
yeah, it was such a wasted opportunity.
Doesn't make any sense. You go back to Captain America: Winter Soldier. You bring Red Skull in as opposed to the guy who's not Red Skull but plays the exact same character as Red Skull.
Yeah.
You commit to not killing villains because their return is always more ominous. MODOK could have been a great villain. I don't think for Iron Man, but he definitely would have been a great villain for Ant-Man, right? Because if you think about it, Ant-Man really doesn't have a villain.
Well, here's what I'm saying. I would have never. I don't know what Kevin Feige. I would have never given Iron Man the power to create Ultron. I would have never given him that storyline.
No.
I would have done something else for the second Avengers. Maybe that should be the AIM movie. Maybe that should be MODOK and AIM. That would be a better placement for it. But I would have saved Ultron for an Ant-Man. If you're planning an Ant-Man movie, let's save it for Ant-Man. Absolutely. Yeah.
You guys are really on the hot D.
Yeah. RM says Team Black, Fire and Blood for life. Fuck Allison Otto and double fuck Bran.
Ooh, spitting fire right now.
Yeah, see.
Let's jump.
I'll take some hot D any day.
There you go. Let's go left for a second.
Okay.
Because I'm having internet issues. I don't know how much longer I can sustain the show.
Okay.
Let's talk about Rings of Power. Let's talk about Halbrand. Let's talk about
let's talk about the old man.
Right.
Oh, well, here's what I'm saying. What do you want to start with?
All right, so I'm going to start with this, right? I was not so mad with Meteor Man's conflict with the cult, aka the Scientologist versus the Satanist.
Yeah,
I actually thought that was a bit of fair fun.
It was fun. It was a fun.
That was great. Halbrand obviously, turned out to be who he turned out to be. Spoiler alert. Doesn't land well with me because I'm not really a diehard, but I know the lore.
There's actually both Meteor Man and Halbrand are canonically a problem.
Yes, both of them. Yeah.
So Gandalf the Grey is not supposed to be involved in the sequences that end Sauron.
Now we all know it's going to be Gandalf, but I think they're going to take him on a blue wizard trail.
I hope I hope they're trying to trick us, and that's why they haven't definitively said it. And he's going to turn out to be a different one. And because they do look like they're trying to make us think that he's Gandalf, and I hope that's a misdirect or something.
No. It's going to be Gandalf, but the way they're going to write him out is they're going to send him to the east, and it's going to be a blue wizard, and this is why he wasn't there for 1,000 years. Mark my fucking words.
Do you think he's Gandalf? He's just not going to help in the final battle?
No, I think he's Gandalf, and he's going to be off in the east. I think they're going to pull a hot dick a time jump at some point. And he's fucking
hot dick time jump. Okay. I really hope he's not Gandalf. I hope there's some because they haven't definitively said it. There's still a chance to maybe.
He said, "Follow your nose."
Your nose. I know. Yeah, I know. And then someone also pointed out, and I didn't even realize this, that they're like a moth is a symbol of him because he's always talking to moths and sending them off to do things.
Fun fact: did you know that Gandalf could not, in fact, actually summon the eagles like they were like they were Uber Eats
in the movie? Yeah, they were his friends or something.
They respected him, but they didn't show up every time he called. He didn't even call him that often. But
here's what I'm saying: we all know that the movies aren't canon; they're just fun to watch.
Right.
But it's not really. Yeah, absolutely. Because they totally mess up the way Saruman dies, and they don't even have that extra part of where Saruman takes over those.
Oh, the giant hand, and he's fucking like, "Fuck it, one last time."
They changed a bunch of stuff. As they did with Hobbits, they added a bunch of stuff in Hobbits, right?
Yeah,
because they needed to fill 3 movies. But
so let me tell you what I enjoyed from this last episode, right? So even with the Halbrand stuff, spoiler alert, I know you didn't enjoy him pulling her into the cliche "I'm in your mind," but there's something about that last scene when they're screaming at each other. That's
sexy.
It's amazing to me. She's like, so you mean to make me into a tyrant? He's like, no, I mean to make you into a queen. He's like, I'm here to save this Middle Earth. She's like, save or rule? He's like, bitch, I don't see a difference.
No, but here's what I'm saying. Do you realize what they've done?
What have they done, my brother?
Basically, now every evil action he's able to get away with, he's been able to do because of her.
Yeah,
she's responsible for everything.
I was thinking deeply on this. I think that they're trying to fill in certain points, not of Tolkien's lore, but of Peter Jackson's lore, right? You know how we all tell a story and we're fond of ourselves in that story, so our representation in that story, like we're grander than we are. And Elseworld, like rules. Why do we listen to like Galadriel, right? Like, how's everyone's hands so clean in this scenario? I enjoyed that portion of it. Now, what I didn't enjoy was if a motherfucker shows up to your, if a low man shows up to your Elvin Smith, and he's like, "Oh man, you building some shit? Have you ever thought about doing this?"
Yeah, like, why? Here's what I'm saying. Why would the egotistical Celebrimbor take that from? He'd be like, "Get out of my lab and call security." Another thing is, there's a whole bunch of holes in this whole thing. Like, yo, she was in the Numenorian library, which they go on and on about what a magical, great, grand library it is. And it doesn't have any books on the histories of other human kingdoms.
Right. No,
there's no way she could have. She didn't bother to look up whether he could be the king or not.
So there are a bunch of different places we want to jump around. So I'm thinking about in context of your review, right? So in regards to the cultist, right? Great Marvel what if setup.
Yeah.
So they think he's Sauron, right? Mm-hmm. What happens if he isn't saved by the Hardfoots? Does he go with them and become another version of Sauron?
He looks convinced that he was evil. He's like, if you say so, bro. Like, that was crazy. That was so weird. And also, how did they miscalculate that? And like, what if he was a good wizard? What if they brought him back to the base? Like, what was going to happen?
Yeah, well, you said now you got two Saurons, and you got Adar, the bum hippie uncle.
Yeah. And why can't they detect the real Sauron? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's rickety. It's rickety.
It's rickety at best. But I will say this. Okay, so let's get into Halbrand in regards to him not being. I think this lends to your. How can I say this politically correct? Looking for the term. Your disdain for ugly ass motherfuckers, right? So. Halbrand, not the giver of gifts, right? You know, I don't know if the elves are looking at someone like Halbrand and say, "Hey, this guy's good looking. Let's take his advice." I had an issue with that. I enjoy Anatar being.
Isn't he supposed to be angelically beautiful, similar to Lucifer, where he's just like beautiful?
He's Tory Lanez, you know, he's Trey Songz showing up.
But I'm just saying, I guess this guy is handsome, but I don't think he's,
I don't think he's tricking the elves, right? He's not getting into the club.
He's not seducing any elves, this dude. He's a low man.
Yeah,
he's some ghetto ass fool. And now if he was really good looking, I guess, but I didn't think this dude was so good looking that it's because they say Sauron took on an angelic form of level of beauty during the time where he was hiding out, so that people would leave him alone.
Here's another issue I had, right? Elrond's like, I trust you. I don't ever want to not trust you again. But I got to tell you, Mantis, I have boundaries on our friendship. And one of those boundaries is if you allow the second in command in regard to darkness and evil incarnate to sneak into our realm, right? You know,
trick us into making some sort of evil device.
Yeah, I'm asking questions, right? I find you in a pool of water and you're, drowning, and you come out and you pull a knife to my throat and you're like, deceiver.
Like, who are you? Where did we meet? You then don't let your friend who's doing that order more magical rings.
I don't even let you order more food. I'm like, maybe I'm not gonna
bad enough. Yeah, so what? And she's like, oh, by the way, we need more magical rings.
Like, make 3 of them.
I think this girl's high or some shit. It's very rickety storytelling. I feel.
Yeah,
I think that the better scenario would have been that Halbrand should have been Sauron Smith. He should have been like a Smith who worked with Sauron, but not actually be Sauron.
Or a better scenario would have been if you somehow worked in the character that represented as a third option, right? And Halbrand was an actual person who, was faking the funk and got killed on the road and then replaced by Sauron. Now, I understand that Sauron is the great deceiver. All of this falls in line with that, but I don't feel like they really made me believe that this is the guy that's going to take down Numenor.
I knew he was evil. He doesn't feel. Yeah, he doesn't seem like he is.
He's Witch King evil. He's not Dark Lord.
He's not the top mastermind dude. And did you hear what they're saying they're going to do for the second season?
No, God, no.
They say, the first season was all about how you look at Galadriel and what, where is she from? What is her issue? Why is she doing this battle? Why is she doing it? They say they're going to do that for Sauron. They said they want him to be as complex as Walter White or Tony Soprano.
No, see, and this is my problem, right? In Tolkien's writing, there's no ambiguity. There's evil and there's good. There's no shades of gray. Anyone pretending to be
complex evil. I don't think Sauron is complex evil.
There's no such thing as complex evil. There's evil and there's good. And the people who think they live in the gray are actually evil, right? And I don't it's definitely not present in Tolkien's writing. And that's my issue with Halbrand, right? My issue with the entire reveal of him being, spoiler alert, Sauron, is the fact that nothing makes me think, other than Sauron being the great deceiver, that he would do the things he did as Halbrand, because they didn't write it in the way where it made sense. He's like, oh, no, you saved me on the raft. I'm like, no, you saved her. Now, if you would have said, I saved you for a purpose, that makes sense. But saying that you saved me first, that bullshit, that doesn't work. It just does not work.
They're trying to make him an evil man who gaslights young girls. Yo, that's the ultimate villain against women. Women love to accuse men of gaslighting. Like anytime a man does anything, he's a gaslighter, and that's the ultimate sign that a man is evil. He's gaslighting them, as if they don't have free will. And if I'm a psychic who can rob you of your free will,
right,
and change the way your thought process is. It makes them,
That's why you got to record all your conversations with the opposite sex.
Oh, I do. I do that. I do that with members of the opposite sex. I do that with my brothers. I do that with anyone. I do that at the bank. They don't realize that the teddy bear on my shoulder is really camera.
Right. No, it makes sense. As you should.
But what would have been a better solution for Gandalf? And by the way, Matt wants to know if we're going to talk about the commercial thing.
What was the commercial? Did I miss that?
So apparently for a lot of users, a commercial pops up in the middle of watching the finale, and if you hit next, like you're like, get this out of the screen, hit next, it starts it over again.
Did not happen to me.
And some people, it didn't happen to me either, but some people are saying that they think that's Prime is trying to cheat, and by doing that, they're trying to count the views twice.
Okay. I'm not sure that's how that works, but okay.
I'm not sure when it works either. I don't know enough about it, but I'm just saying it didn't happen to me, but people are reporting.
Wait, Matt says, "Oh, Steve, you're upsetting me with so much with your words of nonsense." Oh. Which one? Which words?
Oh, who are the three evil witches? I don't know. They seem to be...
They're original characters that Amazon came up with that have nothing to do with the original lore. I think that if you're going to do that instead of them having that short, brief battle with Sauron, with Gandalf, light, why not just have them meet up with Halbrand, right? So just think about this. Let me paint this scenario for you a second. They're wandering around. They never encountered a stranger, but they encounter Halbrand on the road. How much more sense would that have made than that, great fight scene, but it just lends itself a little bit more.
I just wish that, here's what it is. I thought it was cheesy that they thought he was Sauron. I'd rather them be like, he's a good wizard, he must die. and I just assume they're gonna tell us who these girls are, but maybe they'll never mention it. But I would like to know what these.
They all look like women you would date, right? They seem like
The leader I would not date. I do not know.
You would date her. You would date her.
She is a demon bitch.
You would date her and she would say something like, I like Abu Pon. And you'd be like, oh, I used to work there. And I'm like, that place sucks.
He says, I wasn't digging the Sauron and Galadriel meet cute. Yeah, the romance thing. This is basically saying that Galadriel was thinking with her vag.
Right.
And basically caused all of the events of the second and third age.
So I don't like it, but I know what they were trying to do there, right? So they're trying to de-escalate the lore, and no one asked for this. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're trying to bring realism to this grand lore. They're trying to say that these legendary stories have nuance and facts that we don't know about. They're trying to say that the things that are reported in the grand tale add more substance to it.
Yeah, they had more substance.
Here's the problem. I didn't ask for that.
No one did.
It's the same problem I have with Troy, the movie, versus the Iliad. I don't give a fuck about the political leanings of Achilles. He's a killing machine. That's all I care about. Yeah. I don't care about anything else. Go ahead.
So guess what happened today? I ran into one of the moms from church. And so her son is in, he's a Sunday schooler, but he's too young. I don't work with him.
Right.
Little James, but she was talking, and she randomly says, James loves the Lord of the Rings movies. He has me put them on almost every night and just watches them over and over again. And I said, are you watching the Rings of Power? And she says, what's that? And I said, on Amazon, there's a show, Rings of Power. And she goes, oh, is it good? And I stared at her, and then I said, yes, it is. And because here's the thing, her young son is not going to understand our complaints about it. And I think from a little kid point of view, it's a good watch.
Well, for families, it's a good watch.
Yeah,
right?
That's what it is. I thought about her family, and I said, yeah, it's good. You should check it out.
Yeah, if you don't want to see a bunch of blonde hair ancestral bastards screwing their nieces and their uncles, then yeah, this is a viable option. Right? But they are making the season 2. So I want to ask you what you need from season 2.
I love that Matt says they should have done the rise and fall of Margor.
That would have been great. Actually, Matt, I want your thoughts on this. The prologue that we got at the beginning of the show, just showing the adventures of the brother and why the elves went to war. Would that not have made a better season 1? Would that not have
actually showing the war or something?
Yeah. Like, would that not have been better? I would have watched that. I would have enjoyed it. But
yeah, no, I would have. Yeah, because they did have to skip over a lot of stuff from Galadriel's childhood to
I will say this on the boat when they're arguing. I love that. I love that little tension there. What did you think of him remaining in that form, though? Right? Wouldn't it have been better?
Oh my god! I thought at least if he's going to turn out to be Sauron, he should transform into something. You know what would have been cool if after he leaves the castle, he transforms into his angelic form, and you realize that you're right. He stole a human's image. That would be kind of cool. That would be cool.
Yeah.
The fact that he's going to stay that actor is kind of stupid. You asked me what do I need or what do I want from season 2?
Right.
I'm telling you right now, I do want Gandalf to be one of the blue wizards. I don't want to be Gandalf. I want the fact that he said, when in doubt, follow your nose, is just like, I want that line to mean nothing.
Trade talk.
All us historian wizards say this. Back home.
They got good noses, they sniff coke and they got good noses.
But at least it would make it a little more canonical, and then it would be fun to meet the other blue wizard.
Right.
Maybe they'll be on a quest to find the other blue wizard. That seems like a fun thing to do, right?
I think from season 2, I would enjoy more of Elrond's journey, but I understand why they had Galadriel be the way that she is, right? So now we're going to see that she's going to get a ring and she's going to become this ultimate light character. I get what they're trying to do.
Wait,
but if you go for it.
Do you think they're going to not shelve her, but make her not basically a side character, because she's going to be bedazzled by the ring?
I could see that being an option. It depends on the writing. I think the best option would be, now we understand why she's so detached, because that's what they were trying to work in there. In the movies, in the books, she seems and appears as detached. So now we understand that she was hyper attached to the scenario. She had a motivation, and once she, I guess, transcends, that would make sense. The next move should definitely be Elrond. It should be Elrond.
Should be the ones who saves them from the rings. But then again, if you think about it this way, this is kind of crazy, and I should have realized this. We're gonna have to watch all the rings get forged before they are saved from the rings.
No, we don't. So it's funny you bring that up. We don't need to see the dwarf rings be forged, right? It can be an homage, because did you know the dwarves are the only ones that the rings didn't work on?
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Those little bastards can't be dominated. The only reason their only downfall is their own innate greed. They cannot be dominated. So they get the rings in Tolkien lore for all you purists, and it's like, oh, no, they're too stubborn. So we don't need to see that.
No, I guess you're right. It could be in a montage. I was worried that I was like, is the next season going to be the dwarves, and then the next season the human? I'm like, oh god.
Season 2 should definitely kick off, and from my estimation, the rings are being forged. The rings have been forged. We find out that Celebrimbor had been having interactions with Sauron, and that the rings already exist. The 3 rings of power for the dwarves. And that Numenor should be leading the way, and we should find out about the fall of Numenor, and then the Wraiths.
You think that's going to happen next season? The fall of Numenor.
Yeah, it makes the most sense, right? You do a time jump, and I think that's what people want to see. They want to see the corruption, because ending with the death of the king in Numenor, and you seeing Billy D. Williams' light standing over the king. He obviously has an issue with the king dying. He had a tear in his eye.
Right.
I think that tear in his eye has to do with the fact that he doesn't want to have to deal with his own mortality.
Okay. That's fascinating. I certainly want to see the corruption that the rings bring. Matt says, Steve, any positive words toward this show is upsetting. Mantis, you steered that woman wrong. And he also says, yes, Steve, the war would have been better. The show's ridiculous and drives me mental. And then Lainey says, Elrond and Durin make the show. Absolutely agree.
I agree.
You heard what I said in my review about the whole Nori thing? How they want their cake and eat it too. So basically, they're like.
What you actually said was, "Are there no predators in this universe?"
No, like the other thing that I was going on is like. So basically, the reason why they're calling them Harfoots back in as their proto hobbits is that way she can be an adventurer, but that will stay canon that Bilbo was the first adventurer hobbit. And I think it's cheating. We know that bitch is a hobbit. Just call her a hobbit,
I agree with you. There's a lot of stuff going on in this show that just doesn't need to happen. But what needs to happen at this point is there needs to be something that acknowledges the fact that they've veered so much away from canon. There has to be a level of acknowledgement that, okay, we got the 3 rings for the elves. Let's just go on with Elrond's story. And I think Elrond has a much more compelling story, even without Durin. And I think that we need to see how Elrond becomes this political warrior leader that marches with Numenor in the last alliance. And it needs to lead in that direction. We need to start veering towards how do we get to the War of the Rings. That's all I care about. I want to see what leads up to that. That's really it, bro.
I want for season 2. I want to see Galadriel jump from the Rings of Power thumbnail on the Amazon screen and walk into the Rings of Power writer's room and slay them all. Yes, the way she killed the troll, she just pulls out a blade and goes and does her crazy fancy stuff and just murders them all. That'd be pretty cool. How is this show salvageable? That's the question I have. Is it salvageable? Well, Matt, what do you think? What are our chats thinking about the salvageability of this show? Because I am a little frustrated. I'm really frustrated with it at this point, and I don't know. I'm iffy about. Lainey says yes. I'm iffy about season 2. I'll probably watch the first episode to see if it's any good. You know what I mean? Steve, do you think the show is salvageable? Do you think you're still going to like season 2?
No, I'm definitely going to tune in. I think in regards to, was it a bad season? So Matt's going to disagree with me on this. No, I watched everything back to back to back after that first episode. I've already made my way through this first season. It wasn't that bad where I won't tune in again. It made me think about some things. There's some things I didn't enjoy. It really depends on how the showrunners respond in season 2. So right now, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I'm going to watch season 2. And like you said in your review, they've already, they're going to do 3, 4, and 5. There's no way after $1 billion, they don't make all the seasons.
Yes. No, I agree. I absolutely agree. We're in for the long haul. I'm not enthusiastically down, but I am down. Absolutely not salvageable, says Matt. Laney says yes, with less Galadriel and more Elrond.
Elrond is the path.
Yeah. He's gonna have to be the one to wake those fuckers up because they look like they were on drugs at the end of that episode.
The only thing I don't understand, why did Elrond pick up the scribe, realize that something was amiss, and he's just like, I trust you. You're my friend.
Well, he runs up there and then he's like, forget it.
You know what was so bad about this last episode? And you want to talk about bad writing? Let's talk about bad editing. Did you realize that they had a shot with them looking at Celebrimbor, Elrond, and Galadriel, and then they look at the rings, and then they repeat the same shot over again?
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
That was the thing that ruined the episode for me. It's like, okay, the music's playing, we're looking at them, we're looking at the rings, and we got to go through that again.
So the ring wielders are Galadriel, Celebrimbor, and the king, right? The king is the third one, right?
Why do you keep saying his name like that? Why do you keep saying Celebrimbor? Right.
Am I mispronouncing it?
Yeah, it's Celebrim.
Oh, I thought it was Celebrimbor.
No, don't listen to those filthy Canadians. It's Celebrim.
You know what? It's funny. I think I told you that on my Lord of the Rings videos. I get hounded by nerds who are like, he's mispronouncing the Elven.
Yeah, no, those people don't get laid. They probably call vagina vaginal.
It's him, right? It's him. It's the king.
So weird thing is, one of the rings actually passes to Gandalf, the red one, because Gandalf also controls fire. That ring makes its way to Gandalf. But yes, so it's not Celebrimbor. It's Galadriel, the king, and I forget who the third person is. And one of the rings passes the Gandalf.
Okay.
This is the problem, Mantis. Here's the problem right now, bro. All they had to do was give us a pointy-eared, blonde-haired motherfucker that's seducing the elves, and everyone would have sailed off into this last episode. But now I got to worry about this brunette motherfucker walking to Mordor, and then I'm gonna have to deal with him fighting Adar. That's what I don't want. I don't want a Sauron versus the B villain narrative for next season.
So Matt, wait, hold on, real quick. I want to push. I want to give pushback on this. It wasn't. They didn't spend $1 billion. This was a tax write-off. This was not a tax write-off. And anyone who argues that this wasn't successful is just like, this is the Captain Marvel, Disney's buying their own seats conspiracy theory again. I understand that people hate it and want it to not be successful, but everyone and their mother has Amazon Prime, and it's family.
And they watched it.
There's no way it's not getting watched by a boatload of people.
They watched it. There are people who enjoyed it outside of the microcosm of nerddom.
Yeah. And so normies, like I said, like the woman I met from church, her and her family's going to watch it and not have a single problem with it because they probably haven't read the books or care. But, they don't pay details to the books. And so I'm just saying, like, it's not a lot. The conspiracy theory is they're lying about their numbers. They're not good or whatever. That's all a conspiracy to hate on the show. And so it's all right. We can hate something and it still be successful. And I'm all right with saying that because I'm going to call a spade a spade. And I think it's clearly a success.
Yeah, it did its thing. Even though they had a brunette be the most beautiful person in the universe.
I enjoyed it to keep wanting to watch. Yeah, I kept wanting to watch it. I kept watching. I was excited for the finale. I remember being very excited to watch it.
Listen, as long as you're not having dragons flying around and nieces and uncles banging, people are going to tune in for that.
Yeah, but Mantis, you have zero proof, just like I have no proof. You're just saying that. But like, I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. You know, when everyone was like,
a billion minutes watched, that's confirmed.
From the first 2 episodes or something, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. Yeah, if they already had those high numbers in the beginning, the drop off's not going to be that much. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's you're right. I don't have proof. Matt is correct. I do not have proof. I cannot prove it because I don't. I don't have numbers, and we don't know how to get numbers. Right?
Wait, which part was confirmed by who, Matt? Because the Nielsen confirmed the millions of minutes watched. That was confirmed.
Right, but Matt, it creates the possibility that people are watching it. Just having it. People have access to it. Now a normie can say, where do I watch this? And then you say, oh, on Amazon Prime. Everyone has Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? Like, it's that easy. You know, it's obviously it's in more households than any. I need proof. I need legit proof, says Matt. Okay.
What's the standard for a legit proof?
And so I'm telling you when it finally hits movie math for a finale, I bet you they're still gonna have high numbers.
I'm gonna duck out early on that one. You know, I don't like that we're using movie math, even though she reports. Oh, I'm sorry, they report from numbers. You know, there's still a bias there because
they are so biased. You should have seen the false takes they had on the Batman and a bunch of stuff like that because they have an agenda too.
Can we stop pretending like the Batman was the greatest movie ever made?
I don't pretend. It was nonsense.
Anyway,
Matt says anything that proves it's a legit failure is a legit proof.
Respect.
I do respect.
We're at 147. My internet is sucking. It's glitching on your side. My brother, do you want to promote anything at all that's going on for the Fat Mantis Rogue Planet channel this week?
So we have brunch is back, baby. Tomorrow morning, I hope to see you all. Probably around noonish. It's gonna be around noonish.
Okay.
Matt says Batman wasn't good. I absolutely agree. And then on Wednesday, Rogue Planet, we're gonna have Derek Music on. We're gonna be talking about the anime. It's Anime Arsenal, so we're talking about everything anime. But the particular one we're gonna be reviewing is season 1 of Spy Family.
Can I ask you a question? Why haven't you watched Dota yet? I don't understand that.
So you know what? How many seasons? 3. Okay. Next month, and I'm gonna do an Anime Arsenal. You're my guest. We're gonna do Dota together. Because here's what I'm saying. Here's what it is. Spy Family is only 12 episodes.
Okay.
So that's why it was easy for me to be like, I'll just watch 12 episodes and thing. The bigger thing, like a lot of people want me to do My Hero Academia. That's 6 seasons. That'll take me forever to watch. You know what I mean?
Wait, are you saying that you can't do your job and do what's requested of you by the fans?
No, it's going to take longer. Like,
you think Kevin Feige wakes up every morning and go, "Oh, it's too much work. It's too much work."
Sometimes motherfuckers are just tired, man. I'm just fucking tired. But yeah, we're going to be talking about anime. Steve's going to have to be my guest next month when we talk about Dota. So after I finish this, then I'll marathon Dota.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to my formal debate with RM in regards to her false claims about vampires and the Anne Rice universe ever having any physical sex with each other.
You guys, remember to write down all your arguments and have your things because we're gonna wait till it ends, right?
Yeah. Well, no, not the show. We're talking about the book.
Oh, so if you want to do a debate stream,
you have to bring proof that they had sex at all in any of the books. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
Matt says, "Good stream. Can't wait for the next one." Thank you, Matt. That means a lot, man. And what's going on with
Hold Up TV? Same schedule as per usual. Dope Dynamics, Pillow Talk with Bex, and Dumbing Out will be making its way back. Request Box Live, you know where to find us. And remember, RM, not what you're trying to infer. Not what you're trying to infer. Not what you.
I can't wait for this. I can't wait for this debate.
I'm going to be really strict about this, right? Because this is the problem with goths and tryhards. Not you, RM. You're a beautiful human being. You have to go through the books and prove in any instance that any of them, female or male, had intercourse. And I guarantee every time you look for that, it's always going to be something about bloodletting, and nothing about penetration. I say that, and I bid you adieu.
And Matt says, "Didn't you hear? Anime is satanic." Okay,
but it's not Scientology.
Wait, what's happening? Oh, Friday we're going to
Black Adam, African American Adam. I'm sorry.
Right. You know what? There's no way we're going to be able to stream something after our movie yet, right? We tried last time. Remember?
Yeah. What happened there? It was weird. We streamed, nothing connected. It was
connected. It was just weird. We'll try it again. We're not no promises. But... Okay. Good night, guys. Peace. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.